an easy framework for school administrators to deal with conflict and confrontation. Hey, welcome to the video. If this is your first time checking us out, my name is Kevin Curtis. I'm the founder of Differentiated Discipline, and I've got 26 years of experience in education. And my forte is really dealing with discipline and behavior issues. And one of the tools that I want to share with you today was developed through conflict and confrontation. I know as administrators, we deal with conflict and confrontation or conflict resolution all the time. And I realized that through all of these conversations and all the work that I've done, I've developed what I call the 4 F's of facilitating conflict and confrontation. And I want to share that with you today. So let's jump into the 4 F's. Here we have the facts, the feelings, forward, and future. Now, if we break each one of these down, just understand, I don't want to spend a lot of time as far as when I deal with the 4 F's and the students. In fact, sometimes I put a 15-minute timer and say, I need to get this done in 15 minutes. So just know up front, this is supposed to be efficient and effective. So let's talk about the facts. In the facts situation, here's where we just want to establish the facts. And to me, this is where too many administrators spend too much time. I just really want to know, did it happen before school? Did it happen after school? And what kids love to argue about? No, it was 8:02. No, it wasn't, it was 8:32. And I'm like, look, put a parentheses on the facts and just say sometime between 8 and 8:30 this morning. Whatever we're going to do is we want to bring the facts up to the surface as quick as possible. And this is where kids do that he said, she said stuff. This is where they like to argue back and forth. So if I could give you one coaching piece about the facts is, again, if you have disagreements or different issues to deal with, put a parentheses because once they feel heard, they tend to be quiet. The next F, let's move on to the feelings. This is to me where I want to spend a little bit more time because as we increase emotional intelligence capacity, this is the part where empathy starts to come into play. Like, who was impacted? What's been the hardest part for you? Who else was impacted? And when you start talking about the feelings, this is the part where some students just feel disconnected, right? Understanding intent versus impact. They didn't mean to make somebody feel that way, so they don't feel responsible or accountable for some of their voices and choices. So for me, on the feelings, make sure that you spend enough time here so that truly they get the feeling and understand the impact of these choices in conflict or confrontation. The next step, we moved up the turn, let's go to the forward. Ultimately, how do we move forward based on this incident? What do you need to make this right? These are questions that I think sometimes trip us up because sometimes, and us as individuals, we don't even know what we need. The hard part for us is when you're facilitating these conversations, you've got to try to predetermine what are you looking forward to move forward. And this is where ultimately I feel like sometimes it's a pound of flesh, sometimes it's just an apology, sometimes it's a hybrid of between those both. But I can tell you that as you're moving forward, I want you to be thinking about it just from that perspective, asking that individual, what do you need in order for you to feel comfortable moving forward? The last F, let's talk about the future. And if I could give you one point of coaching, to me, I think in the future part is the one that I needed to grow in the most. Because I think in education, we're really good at like, let's check in for the next 3 days and give you a thumbs up to make sure that we're okay. I want to extend that. And in fact, I want to have a call to action to ask you, when you're thinking about the future, think about your middle school and your high school students. The hard part about the future is, how are they going to handle this conflict moving forward? And one of the things that we did is on our agreement of forms, we actually fill out, like if you become re-escalated or you become re-aggravated in this, we ask you that you come back to us. Because, you know, when you look at middle school and high school students, also like, what are they going to do when they leave this conflict and confrontation scenario and they get back into the regular hallway? You know as well as I do, you're going to have friends that come up to them and say, what happened? What a spill the tea, right? And this is the hard part for us. We actually have to role play with the students in that conflict and confrontation scenario to help them understand what is going to be their roles and responsibilities once they get back into the hallways, into the classrooms. I know that was quick, and there's so much more to the 4 F's, and I would love to share more about that with you. So we work with schools, we deal with discipline and behavior issues, work with administrators and teachers, and I'm going to invite you, if you want to learn more about the 4 F's and other strategies that we have to decrease discipline issues, increase student engagement, increase teacher retention, and create an overall safer environment where all students feel valued, seen, and heard, then I'm going to ask you to come to our website at ddiscipline.com to set up a conversation with me.